You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. We all know that in order to build the business you need, you've got to have health and wellness as a part of your program. If you spend all of your time and effort building your business and you never build yourself, you never take care of yourself, then you are headed for burnout. And that's where a lot of people are. So thankfully, there are places that specialize in wellness and in health and take a holistic approach so that you can, when you do build the business that you need, you can enjoy the life that you want and still have the health and the wellness that you need to maximize your experience in both business and in life. If you don't feel good, you can't help others. And so today's guest is going to explore how she does that in a very unique way with a very specialized and talented group of professionals. I'm speaking with Anna Pereira. She is the CEO of SoulVentures, founder of thewellnessuniverse.com, and producer of SoulTreat Wellness Retreats. In 2013, she had a vision to connect health and wellness providers to seekers of a better life in which true, profound, meaningful change can take place. Since 2015, she and Shari Alyse have brought together over 3,000 members to the WU community. They share content daily. They have a learning center with online classes and host live retreats called SoulTreat. I really love that concept. Anna, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Ralph, it is such a pleasure, and thank you for having me.
And the other interesting thing about you, Anna, is where you are at the moment. You are joining us from Bordeaux, France. I
sure am. I love it here. It's a lovely city.
So it's late in the evening there, but give us for those of us who haven't been, give us a visual. What's it like out there in your universe right now?
Oh, well, I'll tell you, the city is absolutely magnificent. It's alive with a society and a culture of people being out and about in the streets, thriving, engaging, having conversation, enjoying the company of each other. I really, really love it here.
Sounds really exciting. Now, your journey didn't begin there. You're from New Jersey originally, so you have been at this for a while. But for those of us who are not familiar with your story, tell us a little bit about how you got started on this path and what brought you to where you are now.
Thank you for asking. And it is quite an interesting story. And I'm going to give you a little bit more of my personal story so you see how everything intersects and aligns and why we really need to tap into who we are and follow our passions and our callings so we can allow our lives to unfold to serve in our highest good and help more people.
Absolutely.
So if I could start, basically, like you mentioned, I was born and raised in New Jersey. I still have a home there. I have had an entrepreneurial life, my basically, whole adulthood life. And I had gotten to a point where things just weren't working out for me. I was still single at 35. And I had embarked on so many different businesses and avenues, mostly in different areas of the fashion world. And then I was the head of a $15 million division for a pet products company, and then went back to having my own clothing line. And I had just run into walls with everything, and I was just completely done. And I'm sure many entrepreneurs feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Many times, believing in ourselves is one of the biggest roles that we're going to have, like to be our own personal coach, to coach ourselves through everything. Right. So at one point I was just like, okay, like I give up, I completely give it up, but I gave it up and over to the universe, to God, whatever you want to say. But, I was tired of being judged. I was tired of thinking about what people are going to judge about me. And I really wanted to call into my life partner that was going to allow me to live my happiness and allow me to make beautiful babies with them. Mm-hmm. And setting these intentions are very important. And as soon as I did that, 9 months later, and my prince walked into my life. And I have no other way to describe it but that he's my prince. And from there, 8 weeks later, we were married. And now 10 years later, we're going to celebrate our 10th anniversary this December.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. I know it's like, you go your whole life looking for that one. And then finally, once you open your heart and open your mind to receiving, and you let go and you release the baggage that holds you back, which had been up until that point, judgment of myself, the fear of others judging me, and the expectations that others have placed on me, I opened the door, the floodgate for my entire life unfolding before me in magnificence.
Yeah, excellent. So that was part of the process of you going in this direction towards SoulVentures and being founder of the Wellness Universe. Tell us a little bit more about your work there. What got you interested into wellness, and who do you work with, and what do you do for them?
Sure, Ralph. Thanks for that. Well, what happened was when I got married, unbeknownst to me, I ended up moving to Europe for the majority of the time. And when I did have my clothing line, it was mostly based on the dynamics of energy and positive thinking. And it's funny because when I used to do buyer shows, and I would tell them about the backstory of what inspired me for my clothing line, they would say to me, "Are you a motivational speaker?" And I'm like, "That's funny. I don't even know what a motivational speaker is." So from way back when, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I'm chuckling because it's funny how people don't even realize that's a thing, but they're maybe unconsciously fulfilling that for somebody.
And exactly, because that's really what motivated me through my clothing line, to get the message out and express one's individuality. So it was basically a t-shirt line, but anyway, I don't want to go so far deep into my story, but what happened was when I came to Portugal, I essentially didn't have anything to do. And my husband's just like, "Well, you don't have to do anything. You can stay home." And I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "No," I'm like, "You're going to discover about me that I have to be doing something." So that inspired me to create a jewelry collection. And then through the jewelry collection, I started a Facebook page, which had me basically within 2 weeks sharing all of my inspiration and motivational thoughts. And from there, I really started down the path. So one thing kind of led to another and to another. And then my Facebook page started growing because of the inspiration and the motivational thoughts and the support that I was sharing for people to be inspired to live their best life. And I grew from a small page to 50,000 to 300,000 to 800,000 fans. And in that time, I want to say blessed with the vision to start the Wellness Universe and create our own platform and community of all of these amazing, amazing people that I was meeting through Facebook that were authors and speakers and health and wellness coaches and actual therapists and doctors and nutritionists and coaches and guides and teachers. And I said, we really need our own space. So that's how, and you've already met her, my beautiful co-founder, Shari Alyse.
Yes.
Yeah, she had a great interview with you. Thank you very much for helping get her word out for her.
I enjoyed having Shari on the show.
She's fantastic. I love her. She's the best partner. And we've been on this wild ride since 2014. We started up. I came to her in 2013 with the vision. So essentially coming together, we've been building the Wellness Universe. And essentially it's a platform for everyone who's making the world a better place. And especially for those who are doing it through online as well as in person, because this obviously gets visibility for practitioners online. And then they can host their classes and also attend live events like SoulTreat. And also we have a really well-read blog so they can spread their content. And so that's really what Shari and I do is we set up this space where all of these amazing people could be found for all of the seekers of wellness, well-being, transformation in their life.
Very powerful idea. And to have your own platform for that, especially is pretty amazing. So what is the interest is in this newfound world where we recognize that there's more to life than what we are living, and people are searching for wellness and for holistic living and for ways that they can improve themselves. What draws people to the wellness universe? What are they looking for?
Well, Ralph, essentially, I think that sometimes people stumble across our content because we have some really, really great blogs, all contributed by our members of the wellness universe. And some people know somebody who's part of the wellness universe, and then they come and they explore. But I really think that you have to be pinged with the awareness to change something about your life, and to really understand that something has to change if you want to arrive at a different result than where you are now. And when they tap the resources of the wellness universe, people will find there's anything there from a business coach to someone that could teach you NLP, which is your neuro-linguistics programming, to mindfulness, to meditation, to eating nutritiously. So I think that what brings people to the wellness universe is when you realize that you really just want to stop and focus on, creating more wellness in your life in a specific area. And then you start getting exposed to all of these other amazing facets of how you can live a better life.
Yeah, I love that. And I talk about holistic a lot. Your website, Wellness Universe, or thewellnessuniverse.com. And
thank you.
Lots of categories here: emotional, environmental, intellectual, occupational, physical, social, spiritual. So you're hitting on all of these different amazing areas of life and showing people that it's all really connected, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. And I think, one of the things that the internet has really given us an opportunity is to be cross-pollinated through all this content that's all over the place. Even though we know that certain content is totally targeted to us and directed at us, we'll get cross-pollinated, and more people are being opened up to realizing that there's not just one way to solve a problem. For example, when people suffer from, a weight issue, it's not just about being educated on nutrition and making certain choices, but then you start exploring and realize it may be from some sort of emotional or mental trauma, and you're eating emotionally. So really, you have to be treated for the emotional part of your life and not just be handed a diet to follow.
Yeah. And I can see with, and I see the same thing in business as well. The one who is good with a hammer tends to see every problem as a nail.
Yes.
And so you have specialists, and in the business world, particularly in marketing, you've got people, suppose they are really good at Facebook ads. And so they think Facebook ads is really all you need to know. If you just do Facebook ads, you're going to be successful. And then someone else comes along and says, well, no, it's all about Google AdWords. And someone else says, no, it's about podcasting. That's where it's at. If you're not podcasting, then you're not going to be a success. And so we have all these different specialists, and they think this is the key. And the truth is all of it works, right? But the key is not in the specific tool. The key is in how do all of these things integrate together? How do we create a holistic business plan or a holistic marketing approach? And even taking that a step further, how do we integrate our business into our life so that we're making money while we're making a difference? And then all of these things become connected together. And then that's why we start thinking about things like, emotional intelligence and wellness and eating healthy, and where's your energy coming from? Because all of it is related together. All of it is being it's synergy that is either working for us or working against us. So this is really incredible. It leads me to the next question. in your experience with all of these different people that are very gifted, working together in a holistic fashion to create this community of transformation, what would you say is the greatest challenge that you face, either yourself or with people that you know of, in working with people that helps them get over where they are to where they want to be? What is the greatest challenge that you have found that exists in getting people to take the action that they want to take, but they don't take it. They don't do what they know to do. Why is that?
Well, actually, Ralph, you had a really good segue for me in the examples that you were talking about specialists. There's two people that I want to address. There's the wellness practitioners, which I've set up the wellness universe for, and then there's the people seeking wellness who utilize the wellness practitioners' resources to live a better life. And there's two things. For the wellness practitioner, like you said, the wellness about specialists and gurus and people having all of these solutions, like let's say to marketing, like if you just do Facebook ads or if you just do Google ads, but everything does work. And also it's when to implement what you have. So the biggest problem I see when it comes to the wellness practitioners becoming successful in their business is they have a hard time developing a business plan and a strategy and an actual product around what it is that they have, because they're passionate about what they do. They go and get the certificates, they go and get the credentials, and they keep building on that, but then they don't have a real offering that's of value. So my job personally is I always try to mentor our Wellness Universe members to help them develop their business to support their passion so they can help more people. Mm-hmm. So that's the one thing is making them realize and giving them the different types of services and opportunities to integrate into what they're doing to support their success, but they have to have an awareness created around what's needed, because a lot of people come and advertise, oh, I can get you, let's say they're talking about, again, podcasts. You have to have a podcast. Well, if they're just focusing on their podcast, but then they have nothing to sell after it, or they don't follow up and follow through with some sort of, strategic plan to connect with the people who are their listeners, or offers for them to come into their funnel, or then what's the point? Right. So that's really what I do. I mentor our leaders in wellness to become thriving wellness practitioners. And then creating the awareness around wellness itself for the people who seek resources to help with their chronic pain, to, get them into a more positive mindset, to get over trauma and through trauma. And what we do is we basically try to create classes online that people can attend with our practitioners. We put the blogs out there, and then we have the site in and of itself that, if you even go into Google and you do a search, some of our members will come up as a resource to help you. It's creating the awareness around the problem. Like just in recent times, for example, we were made aware of the brain-gut axis. And, the second brain is our gut. So it's through the content and the sharing of the content when you're addressing specific issues that allow the people to understand, the public to understand, oh, maybe this is what I need. Maybe it's inflammation that's causing my chronic pain. And what's causing the inflammation? Oh, I have an allergy to dairy. So by sharing the content to educate people is what's going to lead them to support their own wellness journey.
Yeah. Well, I like the way you're able to communicate that. And I think that's part of the difference between practitioners that are successful and those that are not, is the ability to articulate what they do and who they help in a way that makes sense to their prospects. You've got to be able to package that. So I work with people in creating messaging, mastering their message, so that from that one foundation, everything else flows. It all of your content that you create, your podcasts, your interactions, your classrooms online, and the different things that you create and put out there. your signature coaching program. All of it has to do with your message. And, so this is a great example of how if we get that right, everything else falls into place. We're really helping people to connect the dots and taking people who are very brilliant and really want to change the world and really have a passion and a heart for helping people, but they don't know how to turn that into a business. And that's where, you and your community can help.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And thank you for saying that. Messaging is so important. And it's just like, once you're on the next step, that step is so important. And then you're on the next step, as long as that step, facilitates you're not falling through on the ground and falling on your butt, then the next step is important. So the messaging is so essential because they've worked. They've now convinced themselves that they want to take what they love to do and what they know they can help people with to the world. And now they believe in themselves enough. But if it's not spot on with their messaging to communicate it, then no one's going to hear it. No one's going to hear what they have, especially when it comes to the virtual platform, or if you're doing live workshops, you're going to find less and less people, attending your workshops. If your messaging isn't there, how can you help someone exactly? What makes you different? And why should they pick you to do that for them?
Sure. Yeah. And all of those things are things that some practitioners, they just don't want to think about. They just want to do whatever it is they do. And I work with a lot of brilliant people who are really wonderful at whatever it is they do, whatever problem they solve, but they're not so brilliant when it comes to articulating that to others in a simple way that they can understand and that they can get paid for doing what it is that they're doing, creating the transformation. So what can someone listening to this, and they say, yeah, that describes me. I have a gift and it's, to heal or to help people become a better version of themselves. This fits in with the vision and the conversation that we're talking about. What should they begin doing to better align themselves with being able to make a difference in the world while they're making money?
Ralph, you're going to agree with me on this. I know it.
Yeah, I probably will.
I'm rubbing my hands together as we're speaking. If you could visualize me rubbing my hands together. And the one problem I see across everyone who wants to make the world a better place, and aside from the common things of how you're going to fund your business and all that other stuff, is defining your audience, because they want to help everyone. They're not clear on the one person or the one audience they should focus on. And that's what makes their messaging all muddled. Mm-hmm. So I think that clarifying your audience and honing in on someone you want to help and speaking to that one person, which could be hundreds of thousands or millions of people, right? Defining that and speaking to them is how you're going to be successful.
I love that. That is really excellent. And based on everything that you have said and what I have learned in our short conversation, I think there's another useful step that we need to seriously consider. And that is, before you can help others, you have to help yourself. And as we're talking about these obstacles to success, and a lot of that has to do with money mindset issues and resistance to charging people, resistance to coming up with a marketing plan, or even paying attention to the business side of what you're doing and feeling like somehow that cheapens what you do. You've got to heal yourself of those wounds before you can really go out and do the maximum good for everybody else. Because if you don't, that's going to affect your ability to reach more people and to help more people. Does that make sense, what I just said?
Oh my gosh, Ralph, it's like you're speaking my language. You're speaking my language.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Well, so, Anna, before our time gets gone, I want to ask what you are working on right now that's got you really excited that you'd like to share with our listeners.
Thank you for this opportunity, Ralph. I want to share with you and your listeners, your wonderful listeners, about SoulTreat. And I know that Shari shared about it. It actually was an event that was conceived to allow our members of the wellness universe to come to an event to basically release what holds them back from growing and, flourishing and thriving as a person in their personal lives and in their business life, and then resetting their soul once that they've released, because it's the two parts that are very important, because everyone, is ready to say, oh, I'm ready to give this up. And just walking up to that door and opening it up and walking through is a big deal. But then what do you do after that? Like, how do you proceed forward? And I use the analogy, it's kind of a bad, good analogy. It's like when a prisoner is released from prison, some of them can't function in normal society because they are not used to it.
Right. So
we give the tools on the second day at SoulTreat to go forward into life and take everything that you're going to learn and move into it, your new life, step into it, embrace it and flourish. And so SoulTreat is all about releasing and resetting your life, meeting the people, the coaches, the guides, the thought leaders who are there to help you learn the different methods and tools and practices by attending all of these amazing workshops. So it was set up for the wellness practitioners. And then we said, we're going to open this up to the public. So now we have people who are seeking wellness integrated with our wellness practitioners. So it's become an event for everyone to come to. So that's what SoulTreat is all about. It's a 2-day event, a 4-day event actually for wellness practitioners, because we do end up hitting on some business topics on the last day. And we do a little bit of a networking on the first night before the actual workshops are held. So that's what Woo SoulTreat is all about. And it's going to be in the amazing, amazing Sedona, Arizona at the beginning of November, the 1st and the 2nd. And the 2nd and the 3rd, and the 1st through the 4th for our wellness practitioners.
Excellent. So if that sounds interesting to you, either as a practitioner and you want to find out more, or as an attendee, or as someone who is seeking wellness and healing or just a more holistic, balanced life, I encourage you to go check this out at thewellnessuniverse.com, and you'll see the big banner ad for SoulTreat, where you can learn more about that wellness retreat. Again, for practitioners or for seekers, that would be where to go. Thewellnessuniverse.com to find out more information. Anna, this has really been fun to chat with you. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom, deep insights that you would like to leave our listeners with?
Ralph, I just think that I want to leave the listeners with, and this can apply to everyone, the more you can tap into who you are and listen to your inner guidance and be truly authentic, the more successful you will be. And that's just in general, in life and in business, because then you'll be serving yourself, because this is what we're all here to do. We're here to serve our soul's purpose, and it really just will emanate out where you end up helping others. So that's just my last little bit of wisdom.
Excellent. Excellent. Words of wisdom from Anna Pereira. She is CEO of SoulVentures, founder of thewellnessuniverse.com, and producer of SoulTreat Wellness Retreats. She has a vision to connect health and wellness providers to seekers of a better life in which true, profound, meaningful change can take place. You can find out more and connect with Anna at thewellnessuniverse.com, as well as all the other practitioners and healers and all the experts there at that Wellness Universe community. Well, Anna, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us, and best wishes to you and to everyone at the Wellness Universe.
Thank you so, so much, Ralph. I really appreciate it.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.